Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Sagati, also known as the Commenting Collector. I hope everyone had a great week. We certainly did, as our family was on vacation. So we did a little bit of traveling and kind of tied it in with some college visits, as we have twin daughters that are entering their senior year of high school. So they're kind of getting into that area where the college thing is going to be coming up soon. So they wanted just to get some information, take some tours, and see what their options were. In the meantime, we were able to travel and visit a couple towns. One of them was the University of Wisconsin Stout. That's in Menominee. Uh, didn't know a lot about it. Nice campus. I looked it up. They don't have really many famous alumni that many people have heard of. One of them I had heard of was Joe Vavra. He is a Minnesota Twins coach here. Then he went on to coach the Tigers, be one of their coaches. Joe Vavra never played in the major leagues. He toiled. He was a minor league player for a while, never made it to the show. Uh, and he also is in good company, as there is a player that I will discuss later in the video that is actually never played in Major League Baseball. However, he did coach, and he ended up in the Hall of Fame. So it's kind of intriguing story, and I know you've all heard of him, but we'll talk about him later. And the other college that we toured was up in northern Minnesota, off of Lake Superior in Duluth, Minnesota, and that college is UMD, University of Minnesota Duluth, and they have some famous or more well-known alumni. One sports related is Brett Hall. He actually, sure, most of you have heard of him since he did make the Hall of Fame, and he is son of Hall of Famer Bobby Hall. So that was kind of neat. And, I'm not just going to talk about college tours here because there is a connection. These tours resulted into a couple diamond in the rough collectible uh, opportunities and a retail shop. And I'll take you guys on a tour in a little bit. First of all, before we go to that, bear with me. As I typically do, I want to give a couple quick shout outs. I got a couple new subscribers since last video. One is Dylan Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, and I had mentioned him on my last episode, and I kind of razzed him a little bit because he had not subscribed to my channel, and lo and behold, he actually subscribed now. So, and I was just kidding about that. He doesn't have to subscribe to my channel, but it's nice to have him on board. And of course, he was kind of the genesis. He was interested in the theme of my last video, items that go together. So if you haven't had a chance, please check that out. Secondly, the second new subscriber, and actually these subscribers kind of gave me a milestone. I'm up to 50 now. So thanks to everyone that has subscribed. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled. I hope you enjoy the content. I've been subscribing to your channels and watching them and really enjoying your content. So it's great community. And the other subscriber is Dustin and Blake. They're father and son, which is awesome that they have that family bond. What a great activity to do together. I watched some of his videos already, and it's a lot of Minnesota centric content, Twins, Vikings, and he's been doing it for a while, or they've been doing it, father and son. They have over 1,000 subscribers, so they're doing something right. I'm only about 1,000 away, and I'll be at their level. So check out Dustin and Blake. And then lastly, I just want to point out one of my mentors, someone that's really inspired me. to get into this aspect of the hobby, content creating, is none other than John Mangini. The Mangini collection, most of you, unless you're under a rock, are aware of his channel. But anyway, John has a new newsletter he's putting out, and he just put out his first one the other day, and it's just great. I mean, John is one of the most entertaining, knowledgeable, informative channels out there, and now he's going to put that to knowledge to a newsletter, which will be just great to have, and it's free, and and I'm really happy. It's gonna be on a lot of different subjects within the collectible hobby, not just vintage baseball cards, but he said he's going to touch on some other collectibles. So hopefully he'll do some non-sports, which I think he mentioned he may, and maybe some unopened, which would be right up my alley. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about this past week and show you kind of the new items that I acquired, and then give you a quick tour of a hobby shop. Thanks, I'll be right back. Okay, this is one of the two items that I acquired last week while touring colleges, and two quick backstories I want to share with you. First is when I originally had this game when I was a kid, and then the second, I just want to talk about how I reacquired it. When I was 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, my uncle Larry gave it to me to play with because he just thought I would enjoy it, and he was spot on. I really did. Played with it a lot. It's got the baseball motif, and that's probably one of the reasons that who knows, this may have been one of the triggers that ignited my baseball interest, because probably at 5, 6, I really hadn't watched any real baseball or anything. Maybe I'd played catch or hit a wiffle ball or something, but this may have sparked my interest. So I was grateful that he gave it to me. Probably, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, you start, losing interest in games like this. Who knows? But it got put away in our house somewhere. And then, I don't know, when I was in my 20s or so, I had come back from college and asked my mom where it was. And she kind of nonchalantly said, oh, I just gave it back to Larry since it was his game. And when I think back, I didn't even realize it was Larry's game, my Uncle Larry. So I guess that was the right thing to do. And I was actually at my aunt's house because my Uncle Larry passed away a couple years ago, and asked her about the game. And lo and behold, she still has it in her possession, which is great. And her plans are to give it to their grandchild. So that's going to go to a good place. I just kind of jokingly said, well, if your grandchild decides to sell it, I hope he doesn't, but if he does, let me know. But anyway, so now I want to talk about how I reacquired it. Like I said, we were we were at the University of Wisconsin Stout, which is in Menominee, which is a relatively small town. It's probably got about 16,500. But as most small towns do, they had an antique store, or maybe a couple. But the first one we went into, I was kind of down in their basement, and in one of the booths, I saw this and recognized it right away. It was that pinball game that I had when I was a kid. And, I suppose I could have looked it up on eBay previously, but it kind of was not on the top of my mind at all until I saw it. Then I knew I had to have it. The price on there was $46, which I thought was a bargain. I don't know, maybe they mass produced these, because I did some comps on eBay while I was at the antique store, and that was kind of right in the wheelhouse of the prices. But I knew, since I wouldn't have to worry about shipping, and it is a glass top, so I wouldn't have to worry about that cracking or anything. I think they had listed at 46, and the dealer gave me a 5% discount, or 10%, so it turned out to be $41. So I snatched it up, and the dealer kind of mentioned from his perspective, he thought it was a really good item to acquire, just for the fact that there's actually a person of color on this game, which I hadn't really even considered that as a kid. Probably didn't even notice, because I don't know if kids probably even really detect or identify color as much as adults. But I kind of took that comment to heart, and my crack research team kind of got some information that I just wanted to share with you. This game is actually from 1933. It's called Push 'em Up Junior Pinball Baseball Game. As you can see, it's very colorful graphics. This is an old 3-in-1 tabletop pinball game, including baseball, bagatelle, colors, and push and take. Actually 4-in-1, as it says. So the graphics are cool. So that part was kind of, self-evident, but I wanted to kind of dig deeper into the perspective of having a African American character included in this game, since it was 1933. I mean, that's kind of right in the middle, or yeah, that's right in the Jim Crow era, segregation and all that stuff. And there is a segment of collectors, and they focus on, it's called Black Americana, and it's a phrase that is used to describe those that collect black memorabilia. And whatever relates to African American history, a lot of the items are, figurines, dolls, statues. And actually, Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg, I guess, have some nice collections that feature Black Americana. And just to put it in perspective, 1933, if you think of, as us vintage baseball card connoisseurs, people that appreciate that can think of, what do you think of? You think of the 1933 Gaudi set. So that kind of puts you in the same time zone as this pinball machine. But further expanding on this player, obviously, I wouldn't say obviously, but I kind of figure he's a first base coach, because opposite of him is literally a clown. That's the third base coach. Then you have all these characters running around the field doing little shenanigans. There's like a Keystone Cop up there, batter, looks like a pig mascot. But opposite the third base coach clown is this first base coach, and he's got his thumb, almost looks like he's hitchhiking, but I think he's pointing the batters to go to the next base. And what's significant about him is that it wasn't until 1947, so 14 years after this game was released, that Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby broke the color barrier to play in the major leagues, and everyone knows that story. But in 1962, so not until 29 years later, Buck O'Neil was hired by the Chicago Cubs to their coaching staff. But interesting note about that, which was great, that he was the first African American to be a Major League Baseball coach. However, he never was on the field. He was never a first or third base coach. He was more of a hitting and fielding coach. So one thing that I could not find, and hopefully someone in the comments has a little more information, is I don't know when the first on-field African American coach made it to the major leagues. Obviously, we know that in 1975, Frank Robinson was hired as the first African American manager in Major League Baseball. So for this 1933 game to have a African American on the field coach is really remarkable. I mean, this is during Jim Crow times, you know, segregation. And, you know, I think an important point is this player or this coach that's depicted has, you know, clown shoes, but, you know, they all are kind of clown type of characterizations. Obviously, there's literally a clown on there. They all have the clown. So I don't think this is really any like disrespect to this African American coach, which, you know, wouldn't be a surprise back then, but I don't think that's an issue with that. So I kind of give the company credit, made it. It's Northwestern Products of St. Louis, Missouri, that they actually, many years before there was actually a African American coach in Major League Baseball, an on-field coach, that they included him on the game. So that was kind of neat. And now I just want to give a quick demonstration of how I used to play this when I was a kid, and it still works. Just pull back the little lever there, give it a shot, and that's a single. And that's a walk, so runners on first and second, nobody out. And that's an out, so there's one out. Two outs, runners on first and second. And it's a single, so the bases are loaded. Two outs, here we go. And single, run comes in. 1-0. Little shot here. And that is an out, so 3 outs, so we scored a run. So thanks for letting me indulge with that. And now I want to share with you the second item that I acquired. This time we were in Duluth looking at the University of Minnesota, and I came across let me show you this first, a store called Toy Galaxy, and they have vintage toys, video games, comics, albums, and I'm going to show you a video of the inside, and I'll do a voiceover. But first I just want to kind of give you my approach to shooting the video, because being that it's a private business, I'm a little uncomfortable about just shooting film without permission. And if you do, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure it would have been okay, but I just like to get permission. And before I ask permission, ask a favor, I wanted to kind of reciprocate. And so I bought a couple items that I brought up to the counter, and I came across this when I was looking. There was a lot of things in there, but this was affordable, and it's the 70s. I don't know if it's, I couldn't find an exact date, but I think they're probably like circa 75, 76. These 7-Eleven Slurpee cups, and these were music bands. So I grabbed these and I brought them up to the counter, and I struck up a conversation with the owner. I paid for them, and then I asked him if I could film, and he said, "Oh, sure, that's fine." He said a lot of people do. So I'll show you more what is in the store in a second. But this canned heat cup, and they had probably about 12 different bands on there. But I picked out this canned heat because you know, they're well known for their song "Going Up the Country," "On the Road Again," "Let's Work Together," and so on. What is amazing though, and John Keating of that 70s card show could probably attest to it, it's amazing that they are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, while groups like Joan Jett, Public Enemy, and I don't mind that those groups are in as much, but if those groups are in, canned heat's got to be in. So this was an item that I bought, actually they were $10 a piece. I asked him if he would do 3 for $20, but he wouldn't. He was firm, and you know what? It's a small business. I'm not going to try to barter something down. You know, I'm going to support the small business. And the other one was a Casey and the Sunshine Band. This is your 70s disco. I actually saw this band in the early 2000s at one of our work events. So you got Get Down Tonight. Everyone knows that. That's the Way I Like It. And they got a little biography, so it's cool. So if anyone knows more about these 7-Up cups, my crack research department did find out that the Alice Cooper cup, and I think there's about 30 in the set. The Alice Cooper one is the most valuable, the most sought after. It's about $45 on eBay. But anyway, okay, those are my items that I acquired, and I will show a quick video of inside the store. And before that, I just want to remind everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Dylan's channel. And subscribe to Dustin's channel. And don't forget John Mangini's newsletter. Sign up for that. Okay, I'm going to switch to the video. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. So here's the front of the Toy Galaxy store in Duluth, Minnesota. And what really excited me was the fact that they sell vintage toys. And you got to love that Quist sign. That is pretty cool. So here's the display case up by the register. And real quickly, above that Evel Knievel, there was a Daring doll still in the box. And I guess they advertised that as the first female Evel Knievel. I've never, growing up in the 70s, I'd never even heard of that. So that was quite cool. It had that $310 price tag that kind of scared me away, but a lot of cool items. Now I walk over to this other case, and there's a lot of items still in the box. In this case, look at that Christy McNichol from the show Family. I had a crush on her when I was a kid. Love to have that. Mork and Mindy in the box. A lot of cool items. So great that the store has a dedicated corner for Masters of the Universe. Did that unopened wax packs of He-Man last week. Got a lot of love. Small selection of sports cards. I love that 58 mantle. I just sent mine into PSA, getting that back in a few weeks, hopefully. Another display case, the Michael Jackson in the box. My wife would love to have that. Chips, motorcycle, so cool. Charlie's Angels in the box. Charlie's Angels van in the box. Charlie's Angels vanity. So many cool items. Of course, the obligatory Pokemon section. I don't personally collect those, but I know they're popular with some collectors. Toy Galaxy, it's in Duluth, Minnesota. 2.5 hours from where I live. I'm sure a lot farther for most of you. They do have a Facebook page. Check it out. You could probably order online. Thanks again for watching. Have fun at the National. See ya.